The arena was enormous. A gleaming dome of alien metal and strange energy fields stretched as far as the eye could see. Thousands of beings from across the galaxy had gathered, filling the stands with a sea of colors, shapes, and voices. Their chatter rose and fell like a storm, excited and nervous all at once. They were here to see a trial of strength and skill, a combat spectacle unlike any other. And at the center, in the arena itself, a young human girl from a Deathworld waited. She was small, lean, and unassuming. Her skin was tanned, her hair tied back, and her eyes sharp, scanning everything around her. She wore nothing fancy, just simple clothing, designed to let her move freely. Yet the murmurs of the crowd betrayed their disbelief. "She is human," one alien said, shaking his four-limbed head. "A Deathworlder, yes, but look at her. How can she stand against the champions?" 8 fighters entered the arena first. Each was armed and armored in ways that would make a normal human tremble. They were the elite, beings trained for decades in combat, the pride of their worlds. Tall, strong, and confident, they laughed as they approached her, expecting an easy victory. The girl did not flinch. She did not smile. She simply watched, waiting, every muscle ready. Her life on the Deathworld had taught her this. Fight with your mind, fight with your body, fight with the world itself if you must. She had survived storms, predators, and conditions that would kill others. These fighters were no different in her eyes than the creatures she had faced at home. The first clash was sudden. The largest of the 8 charged at her, a hulking brute with metal armor covering every inch of his body. The crowd gasped. He swung a massive blade, aiming to end the fight in a single strike. But she was already moving. With a speed that startled even the alien spectators, she ducked, rolled under his arm, and struck at his leg with precise force. The brute stumbled, lost his balance, and fell. A cheer rose from the human section of the audience. The second fighter came at her with twin energy whips, glowing like liquid fire. She dodged, weaving through the attacks, feeling the heat on her skin but not letting it touch her. She used her environment, the uneven floor, the arena walls, even the shadows cast by the high lights, to confuse him. In a single moment, she grabbed a loose piece of the arena structure, swung it like a staff, and knocked him unconscious. The crowd gasped again, this time in disbelief. The third and fourth fighters tried to coordinate, working together to trap her. But coordination was useless against instincts honed by a lifetime of survival. She anticipated their moves, countered before they could act, and struck with precision. One after another, they fell. Within an hour, 8 fighters, each the pride of their species, had been defeated. Not one of them could land a single effective blow. The spectators were silent. They had never seen anything like this. The humans, especially those from the Deathworlds, had a reputation for toughness, but this girl had taken that reputation and made it real. Her movements were fluid, almost animal-like, yet controlled. Her mind was sharp, calculating every possibility, predicting every attack before it happened. "Impossible," whispered a council member from a distant planet. "No single being could do this alone." But she had done it alone. Her strength was not in weapons or armor, but in skill, intelligence, and adaptability. Every fallen fighter was a lesson she had already learned and used against the next. She had turned the arena into her own domain. Every wall, every obstacle, every shadow a tool in her hands. As the first hour ended, she paused briefly, breathing steady, eyes scanning the next challenge. The council, watching from their elevated platform, began to whisper among themselves. They had expected a show, a quick demonstration of human courage, perhaps a small victory here or there. They had not expected this. And now they realized the problem was only beginning. The arena doors opened again, this time revealing the elite guards. They were not like the fighters before. They were stronger, faster, equipped with the latest technology, and trained to handle even the most dangerous opponents. Their armor shimmered, their weapons hummed with energy, and their expressions were cold, professional, without fear. "Enter the arena," the chief counselor commanded. "Subdue her, do not fail." The girl watched them approach, her stance relaxed but ready. She could see the tension in their movements, the way they coordinated silently, their eyes scanning for weakness. But she saw through it all. She had survived storms that could crush steel, predators that hunted in packs, and terrain that would swallow cities. These guards, formidable as they were not the first to challenge her. The first guard attacked, a blur of speed and power. He struck with a weapon designed to pierce armor, but she twisted, dodged, and used his momentum against him. A simple push, a flick of her foot, and he was on the ground, stunned and struggling. She did not stop. She moved to the next and the next, each attack fluid, precise, controlled. She did not fight recklessly. Every strike was measured, every movement deliberate. The guards were strong, but she was stronger, not in muscle but in mind. Her instincts guided her, her experience gave her insight, and her body responded with unmatched agility. By the time the second hour began, the arena was quiet. The guards had stopped entering. Even the bravest among them refused to challenge her further. The crowd leaned forward, whispering, amazed at what they were witnessing. She stood in the center of the arena, breathing evenly, unbroken, unbowed. Around her, the bodies of those who had underestimated her lay scattered. The aliens, once confident in their superiority, now stared in awe and fear. She was not just a fighter, she was a symbol of human resilience, of the strength that comes from surviving impossible conditions, of a mind and body honed by necessity. The council watched in silence. Their plans for a quick, entertaining spectacle had failed. They had expected a show, a display of human courage under pressure. They had not expected a demonstration of raw, undeniable human superiority. And now they were forced to reconsider everything they thought they knew about the humans from Deathworlds. Outside the arena, whispers spread quickly. Stories of her skill, her courage, and her speed traveled from planet to planet. Humans, long underestimated by the galaxy, were beginning to earn respect. Not through numbers, not through technology, but through their ability to survive, adapt, and overcome any challenge. As the sun set over the arena, casting long shadows across the floor, the girl paused. She looked around, seeing the fear and awe in every spectator's eyes. She did not gloat. She did not smile. She simply stood, a living testament to the human spirit, and the galaxy, watching, began to realize that this was only the beginning. By the end of Part 1, it was clear. The arena was no longer a place of simple combat. It had become a stage for humanity itself. And the girl from the Deathworld, small but unstoppable, had just begun to show the galaxy what humans were truly capable of. The arena had grown quiet. The bodies of the fallen fighters and guards lay scattered, and the crowd stared in disbelief. Few dared to speak. Even the most confident spectators from alien worlds now whispered with awe and caution. The girl from the Deathworld stood in the center, sweat on her brow, breathing steady, every muscle tense and ready. She was small, yes, but she was a force unlike any the galaxy had ever seen. The council, seated in their elevated chamber, were furious but also terrified. They had believed their elite guards would be enough. They had expected her to struggle against trained professionals and perhaps fall after a display of human resilience. But she had done the impossible. 8 fighters defeated in an hour, and the elite guards, those who had entered the arena with the latest weapons and armor, had fled. A council member, her forearms trembling slightly, leaned forward. "We underestimated her," she said quietly. "She is not like the humans we have encountered before. She is something else entirely." The chief counselor slammed his hand on the console in front of him. "Then send more, send the strongest, send the best. She cannot defeat all of them." But sending more was easier said than done. The arena's doors opened again, and a new team of elite guards approached. These were the most experienced, the most enhanced soldiers in the galaxy, augmented with advanced cybernetics and trained to handle any threat. Their armor gleamed in the arena lights, weapons crackling with energy. They moved as a single unit, silent and precise, confident that they would finally end the challenge. The girl watched them approach. Her eyes scanned every movement, every shift in posture, every detail. She had faced dangers far greater than this, creatures that could tear through steel, storms that could crush cities, and landscapes that would swallow entire settlements. These guards, though dangerous, were just another obstacle, one she could analyze and overcome. The first attack came swiftly. A guard charged, energy blade raised, moving faster than the human eye could follow. The girl sidestepped, twisting her body with fluid motion. She grabbed a small piece of debris on the arena floor and hurled it, striking the guard's chest and disrupting his balance. He stumbled but recovered, and she didn't pause. Another guard fired a plasma rifle, aiming carefully at her head. She dove to the side, rolling across the floor with near-perfect timing. The energy bolt struck the arena wall with a loud sizzle, leaving a scorch mark. She rose immediately, using her momentum to kick the nearest guard into another, sending both tumbling. The crowd gasped in unison, and even the alien commentators were silent. They had never seen combat executed with such speed, precision, and intelligence. The guards quickly realized brute force would not work. They tried to coordinate attacks, to trap her in a corner, to overwhelm her with numbers. But the girl was faster, smarter, and more adaptable than any of them. She darted, rolled, leapt, and used the arena itself as a weapon. She swung from overhead bars, kicked off walls to launch herself at attackers, and even used the energy shields to confuse her opponents. Every attack was met with a calculated counter. Every movement was perfectly timed. The fight continued for hours. The girl never grew tired, never hesitated, never panicked. Her survival instincts, honed on a death world where every moment could be life or death, guided her. She anticipated the guards' moves before they made them, exploiting every weakness, turning the environment against them. The council watched in horror. "This is impossible," one shouted. "They are trained to defeat anything, and she still stands." "She is human," another whispered. "But she is unlike any human we have seen. This is evolution, survival perfected." Meanwhile, the spectators were captivated. Even those who had once mocked the humans now watched in awe. Every dodge, every counter, every strike reminded them that human beings were not just physically capable. They were clever, resilient, and unyielding. The girl's movements were almost artistic, a deadly dance of life and survival. One by one, the guards fell. Some were knocked unconscious, others pinned, and a few barely escaped the arena before they could be defeated. The humans in the stands cheered, not just for her skill but for what she represented. The strength of a species underestimated by the galaxy, a species capable of extraordinary feats when pushed to the edge. By the middle of the second hour, no guard dared enter the arena. Even the council's most decorated soldiers refused to challenge her. The arena floor was littered with bodies and discarded weapons, a testament to her dominance. The girl stood alone, breathing steadily, eyes scanning the room as though daring anyone else to challenge her. A council member approached the chief counselor. "Perhaps we should call it off," she said. "We cannot continue. She is beyond anything we can handle." The chief counselor's face was pale, but his pride would not let him admit defeat. "No," he said firmly. "We cannot let one human disgrace the council. We will find another way. Send in the specialists." The specialists were different. They were not just soldiers. They were elite tacticians, masters of strategy and combat, trained for years to handle impossible situations. They entered the arena carefully, scanning, analyzing, and preparing to strike. But even they underestimated her. The girl watched them approach, calm, unshaken, unafraid. She had faced death many times on her homeworld. The specialists, no matter how advanced, were just another challenge, another problem to solve. The first specialist lunged with a high-tech sword, moving at incredible speed. She sidestepped, grabbed a loose piece of the arena and used it to trip him. Another specialist fired a series of energy blasts, but she used the shadows and walls to avoid every shot. One by one, she incapacitated them, using minimal force to subdue without unnecessary harm. Her goal was not to kill unnecessarily, but to survive and prove her strength. By the end of the second hour, the arena was empty. No guard, no specialist, no fighter dared to enter. The girl stood alone, victorious, untouched, and unbroken. The council stared in disbelief. They had sent the best the galaxy had to offer, and she had defeated them all. The crowd erupted in cheers, not for the spectacle of violence, but for the display of human courage, skill, and intelligence. They had witnessed something extraordinary. A single human, small and seemingly fragile, had turned the mightiest warriors of the galaxy into nothing more than obstacles in her path. The girl, standing in the center of the arena, looked around. She was not proud, nor did she boast. She simply acknowledged the challenge, respected it, and moved on. She had proven something beyond doubt. Humans, especially those forged in the harshest conditions of Deathworlds, were not to be underestimated. Outside the arena, whispers spread quickly. The humans in the crowd were filled with pride. Aliens, once skeptical, now regarded humanity with caution and respect. The girl had become a symbol, not just of individual skill, but of the indomitable human spirit. She had turned fear into awe, doubt into respect, and weakness into undeniable strength. The council, meanwhile, was forced to reconsider. Their plans for domination, control, and entertainment had failed spectacularly. They had believed in the superiority of technology, numbers, and training. They had underestimated raw human instinct, intelligence, and adaptability. And now, they had learned a lesson they would not soon forget. The girl took a deep breath and left the arena floor. She did not run or boast. She walked calmly, every step measured, her eyes alert for any challenge. The spectators cheered, the aliens whispered, and the council sat in stunned silence. Humanity had shown its power, not through conquest, but through resilience, courage, and the relentless will to survive. By the time she disappeared from view, the arena had become a legend. Stories of her skill, her courage, and her survival spread across the galaxy, inspiring humans and alien spectators alike. The girl from the Deathworld had proven something remarkable, that one human, clever, courageous, and resilient, could challenge the entire galaxy and emerge victorious. The council had no choice but to accept it. Humans were no longer a species to be underestimated. And the girl, small but unstoppable, had just begun to show the galaxy what humanity was truly capable of. The arena was silent. The usual roar of the crowd had faded into a tense, awed hush. Outside the dome, the city thrummed with excitement and fear alike. The news of the Deathworlder girl's victories had spread faster than any council broadcast could contain. Across planets and systems, the story reached beings who had long underestimated humanity. And yet inside the arena, the girl remained calm, poised, ready for whatever the council would send next. The chief counselor leaned forward in his high chair, face pale. Around him, advisors murmured, each voice tinged with concern. "This cannot continue," one said. "Every measure we take fails. She defeats the strongest, the fastest, the most intelligent soldiers we have." The counselor's hands gripped the console. "We cannot let her go on. If this continues, it will humiliate the council and humans will gain influence in ways we cannot control." A pause fell over the chamber. The advisors knew what the counselor was thinking, but none dared voice it. To send the most dangerous specialists, the elite tacticians, the genetically enhanced warriors, and have them fail would be unthinkable. And yet, the girl had proven that even numbers and technology were no match for the raw instincts, adaptability, and courage of a human forged on a death world. Outside, the spectators waited. Many had come expecting spectacle, entertainment, or the thrill of watching the underdog struggle. But what they witnessed was something far greater. They watched survival perfected, ingenuity unmatched, and the sheer power of a species that had adapted to the universe itself. The arena doors opened again and the final group entered. They were unlike any of the combatants before, a team of specialists, tacticians, and elite enforcers combined. Each moved with precision, every muscle calculated, every step coordinated. Their leader, a towering alien with 4 arms and armor etched with runes of strength, raised a hand to signal the attack. The girl stood still, watching. Her eyes scanned every detail, the distance between them, the rhythm of their steps, the subtle shifts in their weight. She had survived worse, and she had learned that in combat, fear was more dangerous than any weapon. The first move came in a flurry. Energy blades clashed, plasma rifles fired, and shock grenades rolled across the arena floor. She dodged, rolled, and struck with precision. One specialist lunged, and she used his momentum to flip him onto another. A shield fell, a weapon flew, and the leader's eyes widened as he realized her skill was beyond mere survival. It was art. She did not fight recklessly. Every move was calculated, efficient, and effective. She used the arena itself, the walls, the shadows, the loose debris to her advantage. She did not merely survive, she controlled the battlefield. Each attack was countered, each strategy anticipated, each strike measured. The specialists adapted quickly, trying to coordinate to surround her to trap her. But she anticipated. She moved faster than they could react, striking at openings before they even formed. One by one, the specialists fell, incapacitated by skill rather than brute force. The leader tried to call off the attack, but it was too late. His team had been outmaneuvered, outthought, and outmatched. The crowd erupted in a mixture of cheers and stunned silence. They had witnessed the impossible. One human had faced the galaxy's finest and emerged unbroken, unharmed, and victorious. Even those who had doubted humans could no longer deny the truth. The species possessed adaptability, intelligence, and courage that surpassed even the most technologically advanced beings. The girl paused briefly, catching her breath. Her eyes swept across the arena, noting every fallen opponent, every weapon discarded, every mark left behind. She had not sought to humiliate, nor had she shown cruelty. She had demonstrated strength, resilience, and intelligence. And in doing so, she had sent a message. Humanity could not be underestimated, ignored, or controlled. The council watched in silence. Their attempts to intimidate, overwhelm, or dominate had failed. They had assumed that advanced weapons, numbers, and training would be enough. But they had overlooked a simple truth. Survival, intelligence, and courage were forces that no technology could replace. One council member whispered almost to herself, This is humanity. This is what we cannot control." The chief counselor's face was pale, but his mind raced. He realized that brute force alone would never work. The girl had shown the power of instinct, courage, and adaptability. He could not send more soldiers without risking further humiliation. And worse, the galaxy was watching. The humans were rising in influence, not by conquest, but by demonstrating what it meant to survive, adapt, and overcome. Outside the arena, the story spread quickly. News broadcasts, social channels, and word of mouth told the tale of the girl who had faced the best the galaxy could offer, and defeated them all. Aliens who had once mocked humans now whispered with awe. Humans, inspired by her courage, felt pride swelling in their hearts. She had become more than a fighter. She had become a symbol of human potential, ingenuity, and strength. The girl walked to the center of the arena, standing tall and calm. She did not boast, did not celebrate, and did not issue threats. Her victories spoke for themselves. Every observer, every alien, every human understood that she had proven something extraordinary. The power of humanity was not in numbers, weapons, or armor, but in courage, intelligence, and the ability to adapt. A young human spectator shouted, "That's our future. That's who we are." Others cheered in agreement. The alien crowd, once skeptical, began to murmur with newfound respect. The girl had done more than survive, she had inspired. The chief counselor stood in his chamber, realizing that the galaxy's perception of humans had changed forever. They had been underestimated for centuries, seen as weak, primitive, or insignificant. Now, the council could no longer ignore the reality. Humans, especially those forged in the harshest worlds, were a force to be reckoned with. The girl left the arena, moving calmly toward the exit. Her steps were steady, her eyes alert, every sense aware of the environment. She had faced impossible odds and emerged victorious, not by recklessness, but by skill, intelligence, and the unyielding will to survive. As she passed through the corridors, reporters and spectators alike followed her story. Interviews, broadcasts, and recordings captured her calm demeanor and remarkable feats. She had become a symbol not just for humans, but for all beings who valued courage, resilience, and the power of the mind over brute force. The council knew they had to act carefully. They could not attempt to humiliate her further without risking rebellion, dissent, and loss of credibility. The humans had proven that they could challenge the entire galaxy, and the girl had done it alone. Outside the arena, the city continued to buzz with excitement. Statues, digital billboards, and news feeds highlighted her victories. The girl from the Deathworld was no longer just a combatant. She was a symbol of hope, strength, and the indomitable human spirit. Her journey had begun in a simple arena, facing challenges that would have destroyed almost anyone. But she had faced each one with courage, intelligence, and a calm mind. Every opponent, every strategy, every weapon had been tested, and every test had proven the superiority of her skills and the power of human adaptability. By the end of the day, whispers across the galaxy had grown into discussions. The Deathworlder girl had not only survived but had proven humanity's place among the stars. Other humans, inspired by her, began to train harder, think smarter, and push the limits of what was possible. The council realized that this was only the beginning. One human girl had shown what a single individual could accomplish. But together, humans could challenge systems, species, and empires. The galaxy had underestimated them for too long, and now the consequences were clear. The girl from the Deathworld, small, lean, and unassuming, had done what many thought impossible. She had faced the strongest fighters, the elite guards, and the galaxy's most advanced specialists, and emerged victorious, calm, and unbroken. She had shown that strength was not just in weapons or numbers, but in courage, intelligence, and the will to survive. As night fell over the city, the arena lights dimmed. The girl looked at the stars above, knowing that this was just the beginning of humanity's journey among the stars. She had proven the impossible. She had shown that humans could overcome anything, and she had inspired a galaxy to take notice. Her story would be told for generations, not as a tale of violence, but as a story of skill, intelligence, courage, and survival. The Deathworlder girl had become a legend. Humanity, long underestimated, was finally being seen for what it truly was: resilient, adaptable, and unstoppable.